Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'd like to give thanks and glory and praise to the Most High, Yahweh, to the Hamashiach, Son, the Messiah, our brother, Yahweh Shai, and to you all. Give thanks to my brothers and salt of the earth over there. Giving thanks to the all y'all to be in the chat. Giving thanks to all the Israelites that's out here bringing that word. Let's start with salt of the earth. You know, these brothers, boy, they know how to bring the word. They know history. They know everything what the Most High has given them or given us. And I thank the Most High that it's okay to give honor while honor is due for my brothers. Brother Eric, Brother Emmanuel, Brother Cleo, Brother Howard Good, Brother Yasha D. I like to give thanks and honor to them for bringing out this word. And then next, let's go to Tale Ministry. They bring out some good word also, too. Giving thanks and glory to them, to Benaiah Israel, and Pastor Kelly, Sister Eve. They bring out some really good word and research. We're talking about DNA. Giving thanks and glory to my sisters as I hear. They be bringing this word. Uh, you know, Sister Jill, sometimes she comes on with me. She be bringing the word and the crew that she be with on Sundays and on Saturdays. And what's the other sister? I think her name is Shanti at large. She brings the word to giving thanks and glory to all you all out here bringing this word and bringing this truth. So today we're going to talk about the gathering of Israel. Shalom, shalom. Our being redeemed ministry. Shalom. So we're going to talk about the gathering of Israel. I'm at work. It's raining. I tried to cement the concrete truck. I don't look like we're going to do much today. They probably get us out here and start banging on these trucks, knock some of this concrete out. But it's raining like crazy, so I don't think we're gonna really do any work. I don't know. So I thought I would come over here and make a quick hit up, especially before they try to get us out of this truck and start banging on it. Anyway, so today we're talking about the gathering of Israel. We know that if you go back in the book of Exodus, you start at Exodus 1 all the way up to Exodus 12, we'll see how Moses was raised in the house of Pharaoh. But the Most High touched his heart and basically let him know who he was. And that's the story. Y'all know how the story goes and how he seen one of the soldiers beat down the Israelite. He take and kill the man. They flee. And so the Most High talked to him at the burning bush. So he came. Y'all know the story. So we see that the children of Israel was already together when they was in Egypt. But the way that the Most High used way to use Moses as a mouthpiece to tell the Pharaoh let my people go. And then we know he sent the 10 plagues and all of that. And finally, Pharaoh let Israel go. But after Pharaoh let him go, Pharaoh decided to try to come after him. And we know the story. He split the Red Sea, the book of Exodus, and drowned all the Pharaoh and his army. So that was more. It's gonna be like different from what we gonna be going through, or how the Most High is gonna gather us up together. Now, also we're gonna we leave there. We goes to Joel chapter 2, Acts 2, and Luke 21. I spoke on this couple like last week, but a lot of people when they read Joel chapter 2, verse 32, he said, "Whosoever call the name of the Lord shall be saved." Well, if you read Joel chapter 2, verse 27 through 32, that's some of the prophecy. It happened in the books of Acts chapter 2 when Peter stood up to prophet Joel, will prophesied this day would come, and your daughter should dream, young man should see vision, old man should dreams to the great and terrible day of the Lord. But Luke 21, verses, starting verse 15, go to verse 30, you'll see that the Messiah, he is saying, hey, when you see Jerusalem come past with armies, get up out of here. He's telling the disciples in Israel what's supposed to do. These are the instructions. He said, get up out of here and tell the ones in the country don't come in. These are the days of the vengeance. This is talking about how they was going to be delivered. Why? Because Israel had turned their back on the Most High, started to worship the sun, fighting against one another. All of this happened in 70 AD. So when people that don't know this, that's why it's good to have history with the word. So you know when these events has already happened. And people run around talking about they want to be saved, they want to be saved. And how did they get saved in 70 AD? They listened to the words of the Messiah. What did the Messiah tell them to do? When you see Jerusalem come past one army, so when a Roman army come pass around the city of Jerusalem, they fled and got up out and went deep into Africa and told the ones in the country don't come in. Jerusalem is going down. These are the day of vengeance, said the Most High. So now that's two events that happened. Freed from uh, Egypt, and the second event, 7 AD, which is talked about in Luke 21, when we were scattered. That's the scattering of us. Because a lot of us was taken into prison or in captivity. That's where it says you were taken captivity to all the kingdoms of the earth. That right there was the beginning, which happened in 7 AD. Now we're talking about the gathering of Israel. The gathering of Israel actually has already started. I tell you how, I know a lot of people are like, what is that? Well, by us waking up to know that who we are as a people. Now, when you go to verses like in Joel 3, start at verse 1, he's giving the scripture on he going to bring the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem back. He also says, hey, talking to Kyrie and Zidon in that whole chapter, telling them that he's going to recompense, pay them what they done because they sold the whole house of Israel to the Greeks. When you go to Amos 1, Amos 1, verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, you'll see that it says Kyrie and Zidon gave up the whole captivity unto Esau. So, same prophecy, one called the Greeks, one called the Esau. One called the Grecians, one called Esau. Amos 9, Amos 1, they call them Esau, and Joel 3, they call them Grecians. Either way to go, we know that they are what happened in the Arab slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade. So, he also says that I'm going to gather them from where all the places you have scattered my people, and you have parted my land. We know Israel and Africa have been partnered, which is the same thing, same place, Northeast Africa. He partnered, all the 52 countries in Africa. That's crazy. We know that the colonizers, what we call them, Edomites, Esau combined with Japhet, has partnered Africa. So we know this. So whenever you read Joel 3, you'll see that the Most High is making it clear what he's going to do to people that's put Israel in slavery. He's going to bring us back. He's going to gather us all. And the gathering has been started because we are waking up to who we are as a people. That's the first step. For the book of Baruch, chapter 2:30 said, in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves and seek the laws. And that's what we're doing. So we go to Isaiah 11 and 12 tells us that he's going to bring the outcasts, and it names all the places which is near Israel and in Africa. And he said he's going to bring back Judah from the four corners of the earth. See, we know Judah, southern kingdom, was scattered to the four corners of the earth. And then, when you read that stuff in Acts 2 and in what they call the New Testament, it's a whosoever called the name of the Lord shall be saved. That already happened. It happened in Jerusalem. It says from Mount Zion, Jerusalem, go to Joel 2, verse 32, where the prophecy comes from. So this is why a lot of people get it mixed up in Christianity, because it don't talk about no gathering of religion. The only gathering it's talking about is talking about Israel, its people. So this is what the Hamashiach come to do when he came. He said in what Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, I come only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The lost sheep of the house of Israel. He didn't say nobody else. We see in the New Testament, we only see Israel. We don't see nobody else in there. Now, the strangers, according to if you go to I think it's Jeremiah 12, it gives you the real Gentiles, the other nations. That's all Gentile means. The Gentiles, it's not Israel. They can join us. It says in Isaiah 14, verses 1, 2, 3. He said, I will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel and put them in their own land. And the strangers should join them and cleave to the house of Israel. And they should take them and bring them to the land of the Lord as handmaids and servants. And they should take them captives, who captives they were. And Israel is going to rule over their oppressors. We know that haven't happened yet, but so we see that the real Gentiles, the extra Gentiles, they can cleave to Israel. They can become followers and receive the Hamashiach right there. But cannot say, oh, I believe in the Hamashiach and hate Israel. It's not going to happen. But that's what a lot of people try to do. That's why a lot of people will be left out, which even the Gentiles are not going to get the kingdom come inside the temples. According, they're going to have the outer court of the kingdom. In Revelation 11 tells you that. You know, don't measure the outer court, for it's left to the Gentiles. See? And this time about the Gentiles in that verse. Because the reason I say that, because sometimes a lot of times in the New Testament, when it says Gentiles, they put that word in there to they're trying to deceive people. All it means is nation. But Paul and the apostles was waking up Israelites that calling themselves Gentile, other nations, just like we. All right, take for instance, if Paul was Shaul, who they call Paul, Shaul, let's say, or Peter, who they call Kepha, real name Kepha, let's say if they was coming here and preaching, we call ourselves African Americans, and they right in there African Americans, and they trying to wake us up. You see how deceitful they is? Instead of saying they are Israelites, they didn't know they were Israelites, because in Jeremiah it says you're going to discontinue from your heritage. So the gathering is all in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. But this is the thing. When you look at the gathering, a lot of people are thinking about the rapture. If you want to call it that, but it's talking about Israelites, Israel. But there's no word for rapture, even in the Bible. In Thessalonians, and Paul said you will be caught up to meet him in the air, and so you will be with the Lord. But there's no uh, word for rapture in the Bible. So I'm not going to stay here long. I just want to talk a little bit about the gathering. I think tonight I'm going to see how my schedule is. I'm really going to get into it with scripture. That's why I like giving scripture, even though I don't have my Bible with me. But I do know the scriptures that I'm going to. And the gathering is a prophecy that's going to happen. He's going to gather our people up, which is already started by us awakening. And remember that certain number that he get on that forehead, he's going to gather us up and put us back in our own lane. You know, if we think about who we are as people, everybody else, they have a nation to go to, they have a president, they have something they can call on. We, as so-called black people in America and around the world, has been scattered through the transatlantic slave trade, the Arab slave trade. Uh, we don't have nobody to call on but one person, that is the Most High, in the name of the Hamashiach, to save us. That's what he wants. He wants us to call on him. People of Israel, the so-called black people that scattered to the four corners of the earth, call on the Most High. Call on the Most High. Call on him for our deliverance. For he's supposed to gather us and put us back in our own land. Shalom, peace from Kedah.